All right. Do we have sound? Tell me we have sound. Yes, Colleen, I have to get caught up on. Okay. I did the same thing. I plugged my microphone in. So I asked my tech guru, Tony Ross of Tony's Hot Rod Garage, and he thinks that I don't have a good driver. And he's probably right, because my new computer just found this camera and it works most of the time. So I rebooted and everything, but I think he's right. I need him to get a new driver. Crazy. Anyway, it's all good. That was weird. That was just weird. But all I did was unplug it and plug it back, and now I have sound. It's strange, Buff. Don't know what to tell you. Pure Pontiac Garage, glad you're here. Andrew Nelson. T's Good Time Garage. I just like T. I tell you what, I remember the first time I saw one of his videos, he doing a torque flight on his bench and seemed like he's having fun with it, puts it in the car and says, yeah, I've got a transmission doing transmission stuff. Loaded the car up. I said, yeah, my kind of fella right there. I like that. Lone Wrench Garage, howdy. Lone Wrench Garage, did you hear about the No Name Nationals, some junk car Willie? I was thinking he's told me that. Andrew, Clayton's Toolbox, Mexican Spec. Yeah, I'll tell you, I really like that. I got to tell you, an attitude is a good attitude or a bad attitude is infectious. And he spreads happiness, what goes on. You know, you watch what he's doing in his shop and with his cars. It's like he is having a good time in his garage. That's a good thing. SSR Performance James, how's it going? 38 Racing is here. Scott is here. Sounds like I missed the mishap. Yeah, the same thing happened. I didn't have any sound. I unplugged my mic, plugged it back in. I have sound. And Tony thinks it's a driver, and he's probably right. Yeah, strange. Just weird. Just weird. Heard it from Buff Scott. Okay. Yeah, well, there's a lot of places from which you could hear about this event. Diecast Dream is licking wounds. Understood. Yeah. I went down and hauled off a bunch of brush from one of my properties, had a bunch of storm damage, and looking at my new $1,000 window that I have to get another new $1,000 window and replace it with. Expensive stuff. And looking at my new power service that got ripped off by a limb, new, meter base, mast, everything ripped off. I mean, didn't happen the first 50 years. I put new stuff on it, and it happens. Couldn't happen to the old roof. No. Happens to the new roof. That's just the way it goes. T says racing's been tough lately, but it's still good times. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I got floors to do, got a roof to do. I mean, it's just, I'm gonna get all this settled out within the year. I've been up there just working more days on than off, working out of town, getting this stuff done. Who knows? I may even go live while I do floors in my house. See who wants to show up and heckle me while I do it. Levi's here. Dean Stevenson is here. I saw Mexican Spec. Thumper says snow was melting today. Dude, it was 77 degrees in Bluefield, which means it was probably 80, 81 degrees here. Actually, what did it get to today? No, it only got to 75. That's surprising. That's surprising. It was warmer there than here. That's highly unusual because they're 3,000 feet up. Max Wedge, Dick Dastardly, Brian Beeler, NSB Custom Cars. Glad you're all here. Andrew Nelson says, I located and agreed to purchase a personal bucket list car today. 64 Mercury Comet two-door postcar. Ooh, that sounds so cool. So for those of you who are thinking, why is that cool? Look at the, what is it I'm thinking of? The Ford that had the headlights deleted. Two of the headlights, like the high beam headlights, were deleted, and it had that teardrop looking style of cow scoop on it. Help me out with that, Andrew. What am I thinking of? Those were such wild cars. And when I see that 64 Mercury Comet two-door, that's what I'm thinking of right there. Buff says it was 85 degrees there. Yeah, don't doubt that at all. 43 where Thumper is. Dean's talking about New Zealandish stuff. Something going down in Queenstown. Okay. That's a great car. Yeah, it is. I want to see a picture of that. Hey, Andrew, if you can, if you want to text me a picture, I'll show people. If you got it on a video, let me know. I'll put up the link. That does sound really cool. Levi says, you ever come across someone who just absolutely refuses to take money for parts that will trade you something? If I give you money, you can buy the thing you need. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm glad I haven't encountered that person. That is gas or bait, correct. Sounds really cool. But now I'm going to ask the question I probably don't want the answer to. What engine are you going to put in it, Andrew? I probably don't want to know. Thunderbolt. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking, no, it can't be the Lightning because the Lightning is the truck. What am I thinking? It was Thunderbolt. That's it. That's the great thing about having this nice mix in the community is any question like that you have, they will know. Maybe we'll finish our houses at the same time. Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm sick of it. I've been working on houses for years now, and whew, oh, it's killing me. It's killing me. Yeah, Thunderbolt, exactly. Yeah, 64 Thunderbolt. See, I knew it. I'm not a Ford guy, but I knew what I was thinking of. Dr. Go. They call him Dr. Go. Is the Comet Post car a 440 series? It's a Fairlane. My 64 is a Comet Cyclone. Yeah, but it's still cool, though. Both are very cool. Brian Beeler says, my son's 64. I can't even read that. Is Comet or supposed to be Comet? Caliente? Is that how you say that? Turned out beautiful? I restored last year bright red interior. It's on my YouTube channel. Ooh, I'd like to see that. Lars or Unfinished Project, can you pop up a link for that? Thunderbolt is an odd name since thunder is the sound and lightning is the bolt. That is true, but we think of them together. And I got to tell you, I can't remember, I was on this little stretch of road in Christiansburg. I don't even know what the road is that comes out at Walmart's parking lot. It's one over from Pepper's Ferry. But anyway, turning into the Mexican restaurant one night was I don't know if it was a real Thunderbolt or a clone. Could have been either. Probably a clone, almost certainly. But it sounded really good. So I don't think Thunder is a good thing to call them, I think. Thumper is close to having my new room redone. TV, couch on one end, PC, and green screen on the other. Cool. I like it. Levi needs another Florida trip to see y'all. I was in Florida for about an hour in 2021. And then before that, I don't know that I've been there in 20 years. No. I was there, well, actually pretty close. I was down there in 2007 and again about 2009 for a couple of days. But the best time was when I went in 2006. That was a blast. Got to go to the Garlits Museum, both of them. Took the dad. Had a good time. Andrew Nelson says, no pics yet. I stopped by the guy's place and he wasn't at home. I'll get pictures tomorrow. It's a rough survivor. Most people think of the coupe I wanted to post. I like postcars. I really do. NSB's got that 68 Dart that's a postcard. I think it's super cool. And I'll tell you something else too. I think it's really cool, the 68 Roadrunners that were postcars. You know, I mean, very few. It's a 68 only. You couldn't get it come 69. But I like it. I always thought the postcards looked really good. Thought it was neat. I don't know what is 202, but okay. Is the 404 the hard top? Oh, man. You guys talking Ford numbers, I have no idea. I know the Chrysler number's slightly better. Like a Dart 270 is what they made the Hemi cars from. You had a Coronet 500, and I mean, I'm not even foggy on them, so I sure don't know the Ford numbers. Remember, Chevy had like a 150 and they had those weird series of numbers too. I don't know. Brazil says the Galaxy Lightweight came first, then it was replaced with Thunderbolt and the factory racing. Well, of course, Galaxy was way too big, I think. I have a fellow that I went to school with, and he bought, I think he paid $6,500 in 90, maybe 97, 8, 9, somewhere, 98, I think, 7 or 8. He bought a 66 Fairlane GTA. And his brother watches this. So, Billy, if you're in there, you can post some. Man, it'd be great if you had a picture. If you can text me a picture of it, I'll put it up on the screen. I think he paid $6,500 for it. It was low mileage. And I want to say it came out of Chicago. I remember when they unloaded it off the transporter. Beautiful car. Fairlane GTA. Just such a good looking car. It was dark blue. Anyway, Big Billy's listing. Shoot me over a picture. I'll show him. Probably a clone. Didn't they only make 100? Yeah, right. I knew it was a rare thing. So, Junkyard D says, pulling the ignition cylinder out of my most clapped out Volare. Yes, yes, yes. Junkyard D's a warrior. Gotta like that guy. Just think of how many cars you could have done if not working on the houses. Let me tell you, if I had the time and the money that I have had to put into the improvements upon my real estate over the last 4 years, you'd be shocked at what all I would have done on cars. But that is not the hand of cards I drew. Evans Mopar Scott says there was a guy in Texas who had some 70 Coronet fenders and hood for sale. He would not sell them to me because I was not local. Stephen Hote said he would get them. Guy still would. You know what? That guy just doesn't want to sell them. SSR wants to know who all's building a car for the Triple Crown class. That would be the AHRA class that Dallas wants to run at the No Name Nationals this year. Levi says, I work in Florida occasionally and try to make the most of it. You should try to make the most of it no matter what. I think it's great. Hooper says, I could dig a 64 Comet 2-door post. Makes me moist thinking about one. Okay. It's a horrible thought. Vic is out. Thanks for swinging by. 38 Raisin says, just a Saginaw column, isn't it? I'm familiar with the Saginaw steering box. That's what Jeeps like the CJs have in them. I found Dad a new old stock one in Canada. He had the most worn out steering box in that Jeep I have ever seen. I said, you are just going to wreck one day. His was literally getting crunchy where the balls that are in that little cage that go down inside the steering box, they were getting to where they weren't even round anymore. I said, your steering box is literally going to lock up on you somewhere while you're driving. I've never seen a box that bad. You could take the pitman arm and it would just chunk back and forth. I mean, and he drove it that way and drove it. I found him the box and everything. Then he drove it the long way time after that. And finally, he changed the box. But he kept adjusting on it. I said, you're just moving the play from one place to the other, right? It was an arm workout just going down the road because you couldn't hardly keep it in one lane. I mean, that wheel was back and forth trying to overcorrect just to keep it from wandering out of the lane. I've never seen a box that bad on anything. I don't know how I got that way either. It didn't have a lot of miles on it. It's a manual box. Levi said, I have my eye on a truck. Going to try to trade my VW Jetta for it. That sounds cool. Rusted Metal Garage. Howdy. Thanks for turning out tonight. Mexican Spec says, I have a book with all that Mercury information, but it's all the way over there. Okay. I don't know. See, what I've got is I've got Ford friends. I got a lot of Ford friends, actually. When I have Ford questions, I know who to ask. 404 is an error, right? To me, when I see that, it just means I just need to reboot something, start over or whatever, because I am not a computer techie guy. Number says 404 intellect not found. Could be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even pretend to. Sean O'Brien says, howdy, everyone. Glad you could make it by. I see Sean O'Brien. I can imagine him trying to 3D print an entire chassis one of these days. Andrew says it will get a series of high winding small blocks with a series on automatics and 4-speeds. Long-term goal will be a 9,000 RPM small block Ford with a Jericho. Yes. Love it. We talking a Cleveland or a Windsor or a Cleaver? What are we talking about there? Danny Boyd says GTA was a 67 only on the Mustang. Stood for automatic. Right, correct. Frizzell says the lively one was undefeated in 63 NHRA season with a 63 Ford Galaxy. Longest winning streak in a production-backed team. Cool. I like it. I like the Galaxies on the Andy Griffith show, too. Galaxies are cool. Heavens Mopar Scott. Who wants to buy a 68 Coronet Post? Slant 6.3 on the tree, but no title. And that is the one that had Mount St. Helens volcano ashes, right? I'm about to have it inspected soon. That should help. I don't know, man. I think that's cool. I like it. Levi said, has anyone seen the Racers STM project for Triple Crown? I'm excited. I've seen it. I've not watched much video on it, but I have seen it, and I think it's cool. Dust Devil Garage says, howdy, watching from the shop tonight. Dean reminds Scott that his halo hasn't slipped. Old McDonald says, same here. I could probably have bought 2 completely restored Roadrunners before I put into this. I'm telling you, I don't think I'm at 100,000 yet, but I'm not far from it. I'm just what I've put in 3 years. And probably so, actually. If I would have really added all up, but I can just sit here off my head, probably rattle off like that. Yeah, I'm probably right at 100,000. And 5,000 last week. $5,039 on a roof. I mean, it never stops. It never stops. Mexican Specs at 63 or 64 model Comet wagon for sale here. Oh, I like it. Danny Boyd says big Desert Dog tires wreck your steering components. His were wrecked on just regular old 235, 75, 15 tires. That steering box, that G. Even when they were near, the steering was loosish. Yeah, not like this one. This was like steering a boat. Brian Beeler says 2-door 64 Comet wagons are rare. I would say any 64 Comet is rare now. Levi says, I could kiss the engineer who designed the simple GM disc brake system, currently working on the ramp truck brakes and large drum suck. I'm telling you what, GM did do a good job with their disc brakes. I knew a guy that would put them on his Fords because they would interchange right over on those 4-wheel drives. Andrew Nelson says a Windsor. Okay. Sean says, I now work 3D modeling, so I'm getting a lot of practice. Nice. Thumper says, no title, no problem here. Yeah, every state's a little bit different. Heavens Mopar says, anyone remember the Duster? I'm about to release some videos of last year's progress. 10 o'clock on John's clock. Well, that's Scott's clock. Andrew Nelson says, 68 Cornet is another bucket list car. I like the 68 Cornet. I remember a 68 Super Bee that was in the junkyard in Tazewell when I was a kid. And 383 4-speed car. Still had the 4-speed in it. Thumper says, what exactly is the Triple Crown class? The best place to get information on that is go to the AHRA Live on Wednesday with Dallas and Professor P. It is a class, a heads-up class to be run at the No Name Nationals this year. Has a maximum cubic inch limit, I believe, of 368. It's a pounds per cubic inch deal. Has some basic rules. The rules are at nonamenationals.com. You can find them right at the bottom and download your copy there. But it's a cool class. I think Thumper could build a good entry for it, too. Brian Beeler says, I've been doing round them up requests, search results. Requests for those every night, 9 p.m. Tonight is 70 to 72 Plymouth, 10,000 and under. Cool. Doing requests for those. That's neat. Danny Boyd says 68 Satellite for me. Yeah. Lars says Triple Crown rules right here. So there you go, Thumper. You can click on that link, find out about it. Thumper can't build that small of an engine. Well, he's got to if he wants to run in that. He says 368, but I don't want to do an LS build. Don't ask me. That's a Dallas deal. But there's going to be lots of cool stuff there that fits into that. Roy Boy says, I remember that Duster you called Sweet Victory had a mini tub and cage, sweet car. Yeah. I want to see Scott get that Duster together. And it's not that far away. I think it's just wiring is all it needs, really. Oh, it took me 26 minutes to get caught up on the chat. Frizzell says, for all you Mopar folks, they're having Mopars to rock this weekend. Yeah. I've got plenty to do here, I reckon. Haul 3,000 pounds worth of trash off and brush and everything else. Got to get ready for mowing season. If you go over to Mercer County, they take vines to landfill, which they don't take here. I'm not a big fan of going to that nasty landfill, but they're more liberal on what they take. So, but anyway, cycling through all that, construction debris, bags, got a lot to take off tomorrow morning, and probably going to take a small tree down. Then I get to do some inside work, do some floors. I'm actually going to be narrating a tour. Well, not there. I'll be doing it live. I'm going to be giving a tour of my old school, which I have not been in probably close to 2 decades. Graduated from there 31 years ago next month. So April 10th, I'm going to be doing that, my old school. And it will be on the channel that makes more sense on Tour Angie's channel, because that's what she does. But I went to school there, so I'm going to be doing that, and it's now currently a church. So the tour will probably be pretty interesting for the person who has the building now, too. Thumper says, my Pontiacs would work, but a 350 with the tiny bore is very limited. It is what it is. It's for the challenge of it. It's for the challenge of it. Matthew says, 86 Yugo GT is my dream car. Rock on, man. I think that's great. And you know, you can get a lot of Yugo for a pretty good price, too. It's not bad. So the survivors that are out there don't command a lot of money. It's like Chevettes. Those are cool, and you can get a good Chevette for not a lot of money when you find those survivors. May not be a lot of them out there, but they still don't command a lot of money when you find them. Dean Stevenson said, should you stay or should you go? I like that. My old school sounds like a song. It'll be fun. Roy Boy says Mopars invade at Mocan April 26th. Nice. I have never been to the state of Kansas. Is Mocan in Kansas or Missouri? I'm not even sure. Where's Ron Ward when you need him? Levi said you can build a 600 horsepower 350 with the right mindset. Oh, yeah, easily. Yeah, he could. It's just, it's just not what he wants to do. So the class is not for him. Well, I do have this Opel GT sitting here, except it needs to be a tube chassis because it tried to escape back to the dirt from whence it came. Yeah. Roy Boy says just barely in Missouri, right on the border. Well, I knew it was right on the border no matter which state it was in, but it's on the Missouri side of it. Cool. If I stay, there will be trouble. If I go, it will be double. I thought it was if I go, it will be trouble. If I stay, it will be double. These Good Time Garage says Spring Fling Million happening as we speak in Vegas. Having to settle for watching online. Evans Mopar Scott says the Duster needs more than that now, but at least it resembles a car. Okay. Fully tubbed, quarter stretched for a lower stance. So you got the wheel opening stretched, right? Telling you what though, man, you're not far away. You could get that done. Sean O'Brien says for the St. Louis guys, there's a 39th annual April Fool's swap meet at the Grizzlies Stadium this Sunday. Good to know. .38's telling Dumper that engine body must be matching manufacturer, OE chassis, and suspension pickup points. Yeah, look at the rules, NoNameNationals.com. There are rules there for download. If you have any questions, the best place to ask those is on Wednesday night on the AHRA channel with Dallas and Professor P. That is the best place to ask those questions. And they are going to be doing the weigh-ins at the event because the cars have to run 9 pounds per cubic inch. And there's a weight minimum. His favorite fuel isn't allowed. Okay. Opel is GM, right? Yeah. Yeah, it is. 6.0 LS swap, yeah. Now, there was something about LS swaps in those rules. I don't know that it's in there anymore. But, yeah. Anyway, ask your questions there on Wednesdays. Perfect place to ask them. Thumper, only if you were in good with the people running the show. I don't run that show. That's their class. I'm giving them room in the run order. Wrong English is here. How's it going? How do John and other family made it to the house? The sun finally set and did the first mowing of the yard. Yeah, it's mowing season here. So I've got probably going to put on a new deck belt on the mower tomorrow and fire it up for the first time. Andrew Nelson says matching engine and car manufacturer will keep us out of the triple. Yep. The Nelsons are kind of like special attraction more than class racing folks, I think. Thumper says, I suppose I could do that with this Pit of Despair 71 Mustang I'm building at the moment. Sounds exciting. Andrew Nelson, what percent of your cars have an engine and body manufacturer that are the same? How many of your cars have some kind of crossbreed between engine and body? What percentage of yours don't? More of them do than don't. Dean's telling Wrong English that joy and happiness is here. Thanks for being with us. Twisted Mopar Garage is here, says Dart Sport. Howdy. Sean O'Brien says, I have one numbers matching and one Mopar engine and a Nissan. Cool. One Mopar engine or Nissan. I've got to know what is that? I was thinking you had like a Datsun 270, or is that what you're talking about? Got 318 or 340 in that. Aunt D, howdy. Glad you're here. %70 are matching, 30% don't. And that counts your dailies and everything, I'm sure. Scott says you could hop up your lawnmower and make mowing the lawn go faster. Those things are crazy fast. Yeah, I mean, I could make the mower faster, but understand the lots I have to mow, I don't think I want to go any faster. '71 Mustang's a cool car. I like those cars. Yes, indeed. There's I think it's gone now, but man, it was there a long time. It was a 71 to 74, somewhere in that series of Mustang, sitting in one of those Model T Ford garages, you know, the real narrow, real steep, and just cut back in the bank right off the street over in Radford. And that car sat there for at least 20 years. And I think it's just disappeared now, so who knows where it went. One-Eyed Cat says my 76 Ventura had an Olds 350 in it. I would guess they would make that exception for cars that came that way. I know what you're talking about. I mean, that you could run a Smokey and the Bandit Pontiac that had the Olds engine too and all that, I'm sure. But anyway, that's a question for them on Wednesdays. Question for Dallas specifically. Danny Boy says all three of my Fords no longer have their numbers matching engines. Right, but you didn't put a GM or Chrysler engine in them, right? Thumper says I bought it for $20 in the 90s and drove it home. Super rough. Ooh. My small block Chevy powered orphan cars don't qualify. Okay. Yeah, like your Studebaker. How many, is it a 350 in that Studebaker? How many cubic inches is that? Thumper says, why would you want to run an old small block unless you wanted mileage? The 403 does good on gas. I'm not saying you wanted to. I'm just talking about what you could do. I'm glad people do different things. I think that classes like this need diversity to be fun. Because when all the cars turn out to be the same, all the drivers turn out to be the same and all that, then you have NASCAR, you have NHRA. It's a yawn fest. Brazil says he's always wanted one of the big body Mustangs. I've had most of the others. Is the 71 to 74 Mustang, is that the biggest Mustang they ever made? I mean, I guess it is. Yeah, it is. I'm just sitting there thinking. Nanny Boyd says Oldsmobiles are smooth and can make good power. Don't know much about the Oldsmobile. Andrew Nelson says 353 in the 48, 355 in the 54. Okay. 38 says, everyone remember the Triple Crown is only a small part of the No Name Nationals. There's always the bracket racing and the tire classes. Let me tell you, the No Name Nationals, this Triple Crown, remember, for the first 3 years of it, we didn't have the Triple Crown, and the event was great, and nobody was asking where the Triple Crown or anything was. So just remember, I mean, this is just another ornament on a great tree. Colleen says NASCAR sucks now. I actually watched about half of a NASCAR race this past weekend. Now, so I'm good for probably another 5 years before I do that again. It was at Martinsville. Martinsville isn't that far from here. I've been to a couple races at Martinsville. Last one I went, Jeff Gordon won. So that tells you how long ago that's been. The most entertaining part of that trip was it was pouring rain, and there's this big unpaved hillside people park on. People were sliding into each other and everything else. I must have sat up there for 2 hours waiting for everybody to get stuck in the mud. And there was a guy running around in an H2 Hummer towing people out of the mud. I'm telling you what, I had four wheels spinning to get up to the top of this hill to get in, but I said, I absolutely want to make it to the very top of that hill because when people are leaving, I don't want them sliding into me. So that's what I did. It was hard. I had to make a few attempts at it. I had to drift a corner. It was wild. But I got up there, and then it only rained and got worse. And I definitely wanted to be up by the fence so nobody hit me. Twisted Mopar Garages, I'm just running the bracket side. All right, let's take Dean's comment apart here. Let's see what he's talking about. At 132 miles an hour versus 124, lost 8 miles an hour in top speed and did a 15.9 second quarter instead of 15.3 in a 4-speed 400. So there's that thumper. Okay. Did you get that from Car and Driver? Thumper says the hood on the Mustang is forever. It stretches to the horizon in Nebraska and Alberta. Those things do have a crazy long hood. One-Eyed Cat says Darlington is this week. Yeah, well, it's unfortunate that all of the cool people and cool cars that made Darlington what it was aren't going to be there. I mean, I really get sick of this new crowd of drivers. Just not what it was. And am I allowed to say that Bubba Wallace just gets on my nerves? I mean, it's almost like he's there for some kind of quest, and this whole thing about driving a race car is secondary. He just gets on my nerves. A lot of them do, not just him. And I really miss the pit stops where you had 5 lugs, and it was just so much cooler. I really liked it when the cars still had some DNA from actual cars. Twisted Mopar says, I won't be fast, but I'll be back on my roots of bracket racing. Yeah, bracket racing's great. Takes talent. Dean Stevenson said, some of it was from Car and Driver, but I mix and match what suits me. There you go. Dean's definitely one of a kind. NASCAR or basketball? Tough choice. Brazil said NASCAR died with Dale Earnhardt. NASCAR isn't 5 lug anymore? Oh, no. They had this purge a few years ago where they got rid of all of the remaining DNA that had anything to do with real cars. They got rid of the T10 transmission. They got rid of the 5 lug wheels. Now they have a transaxle in them and little button shifters and stuff. And it's like a different looking Formula One or something. And they have all the jockey drivers and all of that. And it's real woke politically. And it's just, it's gone. It's gone. Levi's suggesting to go support your local track. I agree with that. Sean O'Brien said the swap is a 70 Dart 340 engine. I made the 3D printed intake for my 260Z. Yep, 70 Dart 340, right on. There used to be a 70 Swinger 340 car in the junkyard when I was a kid. Man, I'd like to have had that. They were logging in there and ran over the front of it, destroyed it. It still had the 8 3/4 in it, which I didn't get because I'm stupid. And it had a 273 2-barrel in it, but it was a 340 car, and it was made the same month and year as mine. And it was the same color. It's a shame the stuff we used to see in junkyards. Aunt D says, can't remember the last time I watched NASCAR. You're not missing anything. And then I have all these stages and stuff. It's just not my kind of thing. One-Eyed Cat says, we've been to probably 15, both Pocono and Watkins Glen are 100 miles each. Good times. Yeah, I mean, I've been to plenty of those races. The first one I ever went to was in Atlanta. And been to Atlanta. Of course, I've been to Bristol, Martinsville. I mean, it's great, but it's just changed so much. NASCAR slot car racing now, pretty much. Sounds like even the cars are woke. Yep. And AHRA just keeps more and more. That's what the road they're going down. I mean, look at NHRA. None of this is hard to figure out. I mean, we can clearly see it. I don't know why they can't. Look at Pro Stock. Remember how exciting pro stock used to be? And they've taken all of the diversity out of it. Now, all the drivers are jockey drivers. They're all like these sponsor mannequins. The cars are all the same. They're all Camaros that have nothing to do with, they're not Camaros at all. They're just panel cars. They all run the same DRC derivative engine. They all run that, 10,500 RPM limit fuel injection and stuff. You have one or two people that make all the engines for all the teams. I saw something about on NHRA's YouTube channel. I think it was Erica Enders was doing a tour for, it's like KB and Elite or something have merged. Now they do the engines for most of the teams. I'm like, what is this? What is this? How much cooler was it when we had Warren Johnson, the professor, who did his stuff in-house there in that little building in Sugar Hill, Georgia, and never would let anybody see what he was doing. I've actually been in that building. I mean, let me tell you, he is super secretive about his stuff. We had that. You had the Gliddens that were doing it as a family. They ran different stuff. I mean, it was so much cooler. We lost all of that now. All of that's gone. Heavens Mopar says, with bracket racing, how do you know if you're going to break out or beat your time? Or is that part of knowing your car? I've never done it before. Good question for the bracket racers in here. I'll let them answer that. Twisted Mopar says it takes time to know your car, test and tune and seat time, right? And then some people gauge it too by, how badly they're beating the other car. If the other car's making a good run, they don't want to win by too much. They don't want to break out. But there's a whole art to that. So we'll let them opine on all of that. Colleen says, my first live NASCAR race was at the Rock the week after Dale passed away. They gave everyone a Dale flag to hold up for the moment of silence. I saw Dale Earnhardt race at Atlanta. And I was at Daytona taking a tour of the track right before that race, a few months before. Didn't Warren Johnson run Oldsmobiles? Yes, he ran a real Oldsmobile, and they still made them out of real cars, and he was running Oldsmobile, and he ran Pontiac. Yeah, sure did. Andrew Nelson says, 80% sure we're going to bring a gasser to No Name Nationals. So I'm hoping we can get to see a few there and get some good videos. I'm all for it. I think it's great. Danny Boy wasn't a fan of Dale the driver, but I still feel that loss. Connor suggests run a lot of practice passes, then set your time a little quicker than you can run. That's generally what most people do. Levi says, it's easy to control cheating if you control the manufacturer of parts. Food for thought. Levi, it's easy to control cheating when you just make it all the same and everything is issued and all of that, but then you kill all the innovation. It takes all the cool out of it. I mean, yeah, I would rather have to fight the cheating and let these people evolve what we're doing, what we're watching. That's what's exciting. Yeah, Mohawk likes the idea of that. So does Don. Danny Boyd says, when I was living in my buddy's trailer at the Edgewater drag strip, a framed picture of Dale Earnhardt was the first thing you saw when you walked in. That's pretty cool. And it's a drag strip that you see a picture of Earnhardt. It shows you how popular he was. I wasn't particularly a fan of his style. He kind of made it normalized to have vehicular combat on the track. I wasn't a fan of that. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but he definitely was a character who was good for the sport itself. What can I say? Humper says, I'm at least a year from having a gasser done. We'd like to see it. Levi said, I got a lot of my racing knowledge came from one of Warren's mechanics. Yeah, he was a character. We needed people like that. Colleen says, I believe in run what you brung, no participation trophies. Well, we don't give them, so I'm good with that. Dr. Ghost said, I made a mistake of inexperience with bracket racing by marking my car with a 12-second when I never ran better than a 12.4. Then forgot and kept a few 100 pounds of travel crap in the trunk. Well, there you go. One-Eyed Cat says Dale and Gordon wrecked each other even in practice. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing about circle track racing. Just a lot of just carnage and that kind of thing. I like drag racing. It doesn't take 500 laps or 500 miles to figure out who's quicker, and you don't have to one wreck the other and all that stuff. Thumper says the farthest I ever made it in a bracket was 3 rounds. We also had 200 plus cars running in the 90s. Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, we say bracket racing, and a lot of people here in the chat, especially have younger people like Levi, they can't remember the popularity of the brackets back then compared to now. I mean, I'm not saying they're unpopular now, but I'm saying it's like Lars was reading about the old Princeton Dragway. I mean, which is now literally the main street of a trailer park in Princeton, West Virginia. He says they had 6,000 people turn out on opening weekend of Memorial Day in 1987. 6,000 people crammed into that little track and leaning on the fences, all the cars. And it's just not like it is now. There was no internet or anything. People lived very much in the real world. And I think that back then, you know, you could see more engagement, more people be into things like brackets then. Bracket has me pondered. Let me tell you one thing about the bracket. This is for anybody here. We have a big Friday bracket at the No Name Nationals, and anybody can run in it. Anybody can run it. It doesn't cost you any more to run in it. Just do it. You can just do it. And then Saturday, we'll have a first-timer bracket again for people who've never won or run it up in a bracket. We're going to do that again on Saturday. That was great. So you'll have at least 2 brackets you can run in. And it doesn't cost you anything more to do it. There's just no reason not to, really. Just go for it. Danny Boy says computers are the new cars. Well, what we see now is that people are passengers in all seats of the car, including the one with the steering wheel. Young people are just not as engaged. They don't want to get their driver's license. Cars are just transportation appliances and just, you know, some other nuisance they got to have to deal with it. But they're not excited about it like my generation was. Sean O'Brien says the million. Brazil says there's that little buffer that it does every stream for about 5 seconds, every stream one time. Brazil says, I've never bracket raced. I've been doing heads up racing since the 90s. Cool. Well, you should try. You should try bracket. Might be fun. .38 says, I've made it to the second round before getting put out. First run was a buy run. Yeah, cool. Buy fun, buy run. Thing for a minute. Okay. I will say the majority of kids cannot afford racing. The only reason I have is because, yeah, he works hard. But here's the thing. No, that's not true, Levi. They can't afford what you can't afford what you want to have. And maybe they can't afford what they want to have because what they see on TV. You can afford to run your daily and get some shoe polish and put on the window. Don't say you can't afford it. It's just what do you want versus what you can afford. There are people who can't afford to buy a house because there literally is not an inhabitable dwelling on a piece of land that one can purchase. Literally. There literally might, I don't think there's literally anything in this town under $100,000. There are some people who cannot do that and cannot get that loan. That's true. But as far as can't bracket race, you could bracket race a bicycle. You can bracket race anything. So it's what you want versus what you can afford. Wouldn't it be better to race the novice bracket Friday so they could run on Saturday? Uh, there's a lot going on Friday. A lot going on Friday, and they could run it. They could run it anyway. They could get their practice in on Friday against, be the sacrificial lambs and get tuned up to try to win it on Saturday. I mean, we did it on Saturday last year. We can look at that, but there's a lot going on Friday. A lot. Stop buffering. Okay. Stop buffering, internet. Sean says the high school bracket here has 20, 30 kids. That's excellent. That is great. That is really great. Does take some serious organizing. Oh, yeah. Does take someone organizing. Oh, yeah. I know that. Yeah. Uploading info to the mothership, and that's the polish. Maybe. How do you draw in the kid with the Hyundai? I just think the cars are what makes it not fun for them. Oh, well. It's a good question. You should work on that, Levi. Drawing them in for that. Andrew says, I won thousands bracket racing a $50 Nova with a small block Chevy. Yep. But when you say that, Andrew, you got to remind them when this was, because when they say, oh, a Nova with a small block Chevy, oh, that's an expensive hot rod. It wasn't when you did it. The junior dragsters are normally 15-ish. 15-ish what? Kragers won't fit on any new car. Yeah, I can say it's true. Yeah. By the way, I'll plug something really quick while we have a little bit of a lull. I'm going to do some interview style live streams here pretty soon with some people that you guys know. The first one will be this upcoming Friday with Ron Ward. And I want to do something that's more interview and biographical in nature. So for those of you that want to turn out for that, that's going to be a great time. We're going to learn a little bit about Ron's history and who he is and how he got into announcing and about his long and storied career and so forth and so on. And that will be this upcoming Friday, April 11th. We're going to be doing some like that. And kind of what I have in my head is that we will have kind of a timeline and discussion interview type live that will open it up for questions from the audience. So if I'll plug that real quick, if you guys want to turn out for that, I think it'll be a lot of fun. One-Eyed Cat says aluminum slots will fit with enough lug stud. Brazil says they make big sizes in Kragers. I run them on my 2017. Ugh. I need a 175 13 tire right now. I might need some luck. Not a classic Krager SS. No. I mean, I can't get into any of these 17, 18, 20-inch wheels or whatever. Justin Hill is here. Howdy. Brazil says they look like the classics, though. I'll tell you something that drives me crazy is when I see these. You see the Magnum 500 / road wheel, and you'll see the Chrysler Rally wheel. And those are reproduced through like Wheel Antiques in 17, 18-inch sizes. And I can't stand it. It just does not look right. They do it to clear these big breaks. Not my thing at all. Andrew Nelson says, point being, a well-sorted cheap car wins rounds. I totally agree. Today, a third or fourth gen Camaro or Firebird with $500 in improvements should be a moneymaker in a bracket race series. Yes. See, there you go. Levi says, if you were a high school kid with a stock Honda, what would draw you to the track? Well, I mean, they got to love cars. I mean, and if they love cars, they may aspire to grow into something else or make their car faster. I would have to answer that before starting anything because most kids are into partying. I don't even know about that. It seems like most kids are just into playing in the internet, not even living in the real world. That just is unfortunate. But I'll find something, Don. Yeah, Heavens Mopar, Scott likes it. Yeah. So it'll be a biography. I used to host a local small business podcast, co-host it with somebody else here who ran a business. And that was more like what we did there. And we would interview people, talk about, how they got their start, where they came from, and that kind of thing. And I want to do that with some people in our community here. So it'll be good. 38 Racing says, what do you need a 13-inch tire for? Well, you may see. I don't think it's ever been on my channel. Brazil says, look at Summit and use their sort feature. Okay. Colleen's biggest disappointment is the trash left at the track nowadays. Yeah, well, that's one way that we have to be better, our community, than the average community, is leaving the track cleaner than we found it. And we have every year, and we're going to continue to do that. Yes, I did see where somebody just threw their cigarettes and made a pile right in the parking lot because they thought the world was their ashtray. I do not want to see that again this year. Please, don't just throw your cigarettes in the parking lot. Thank you. Danny Boyd says he's been spending money like a politician the last few months. Dean says 195.70 13s for a Mustang too. Okay. Colleen says, I'll call people out. It won't hurt my feelings. And I know it wasn't Colleen's pit. I know whose pit it was within a couple of people, but it wasn't Colleen. I know that. Colleen wouldn't do that. Cleaner than found. Yes, cleaner than found. Of course, it's clean when we get there. They do a good job there. Class act, really, they are. But we want to do our absolute best for Possum and to show him how much we appreciate. They're just wonderful hosts, and we want to keep that up. Lovejoy bought a tack to install on the Fifth Avenue so I can finally find out how fast I was spinning the stock 318 down the track in first gear at 65. You can actually calculate that pretty easily, especially if it's a lockup. Captain Dew, welcome. I got a new welder today, a portable arc welder that runs a 110-volt plug. Power like a 220, strong up to 130 amp. I've had better results. Usually those will run on both 220 and 110. I've had better results running them on 220, but the 110 is great for all kinds of stuff. One-Eyed Cat says we leave Lambert's in better shape except for the dirty dishes. Yeah, pay a healthy dinner tab too. 38 Racing says you might not want that answer. He's running 221 gears, and his 904 is a later model one, so it's a 274 first gear. Yeah, you were turning it. You were turning it though. We actually can figure that out. Hey, somebody do the math on that. So his car. One of you scientists can do the math on that. I don't want to bore you while I sit do it, but it's 221 rear end gear. Oh, okay, 223, 225, 70, 15 tire. It's a 904, and that 904's first gear is 2.74 to 1. And it's a lockup. And probably wasn't locked up because he's under full throttle in first. 274 or 277, depending on where you read it, for that first gear in the 904. Call 274. Dr. Go says, I only reached 54 with my 318 J body. Yeah, but Dr. Go, you're not Connor Lovejoy. Lockup doesn't matter in first. Well, yeah, okay, that's true. In first, right. It won't come on anyway. Yeah, he had a 28-inch tall tire. Connor says thinks he'll be pretty well matched this year. Decided not to swap my rear end until after this year so we can get a good 4-barrel to 2-barrel comparison. Well, Don English is going to find out when he changes his rear gear ratio in his car. It's going to change the world. He also says he's filming a call out for you at some point. You'll do it. We have 166 days and 2 hours and 55 minutes. Let's do it. Buff said it was 59 miles per hour when I rode with you. So there you go. Dr. Go says, Buff, you brought me some extra speed. Well, you know what? Over another passenger, he would. Buff, you're what, like 150 pounds? Brazil says, nothing makes a slow car feel fast like a set of gears. Yes, indeed. Don English put some gears in his car. He's going to be like, whoa, this is a whole different car. Has a 355 limited slip for sure grip. Yep, cool, excellent. How about we see who can go the slowest, but a close to 24 seconds flat as possible? The clock's time out there in 22. 180, Buff says. One-Eyed Cat says the rear's not leaving until some part of it breaks. Well, I hope you don't, break a pinion or something, send a drive shaft into your floor or whatever. Dean Stevenson says, Buff, you need a set of 226s in your Z7. When I see Z, I think of the guy who had the chopper in Pulp Fiction. Zed's dead. It's a Ford 8.8. Okay. You'll do the 8.8 thing. Plenty tough. 24 it is. Well, we won't be able to get a time on it. I have a loop. The loop's nice. Still going to dent up your floor and everything. Enough rear gear and sticky tires, you can make a stock car wheelie. Yeah, I guess so. If you can get enough and sustain enough RPM. And I'm going to shackle it up in the rear. Might do that before No Name Nationals. Yeah, that'll be interesting. We can use a calendar. Yeah, you probably could. Buff wants to race Kim in her slant 6 dart. You got to get out on the track if you're going to do that. You going to get out on the track this year, Buff? One-Eyed Cat says people are busy looking at the patina. Well, that's every car there. Captain Deuce says 355 gears, like an average number is great pull. It's a compromise gear, like everything else. He needs to get his throttle figured out. I'm only getting 3/4 throttle. Well, there you go. That might explain some deal with your shifting right there. Captain Deuce says, I got one thing to notice when I look under my truck. I see 2 types of springs on the rear. It's got coil spring and leaf springs on the rear. So somebody's added some helper springs. Is that Dakota yours? Because if it is, it shouldn't have that. Somebody's added some coil helper springs. Buff says, I'm ready. Driving that car every day. Right on. I can't figure out how to adjust it any different. It's perfect at idle. No slack in the cable. Something's messed up. If you're not getting full throttle. Something. Sean says, after the rain stops, I'll do my cam swap break-in. Then I'll do my 355 to 390 gear swap. Buff says the Dart needs so little. A windshield and it'll be ready. Cool. Dean is wanting to check out Buff's Mercury for hidden nitrous. Yeah, hidden nitrous might be cool. One good thing about hidden nitrous, you won't see people trying to take a torch to the bottle. Totally not cool at all. Heavens Mopars is asking Dawn what axle housing is in the Valiant. I can tell you it's a 7 1/4. Car runs a 440, 7 1/4 rear with drag radials. Mater wants to see the Monkey Bike Winter Race Turbo Tom's Model T. Dean says Buff Del Campo is chairman of the Honorary Mustache Mafia. Connor says build an airtight tube frame and fill it with nitrous. When Billy Glidden was hiding nitrous in that Winnebago sponsored probe, and I don't know if Winnebago was even sponsored at that time, but it used to be. It's one of Bob Glidden's old cars. They were hiding it in the weight bar on the back, and he said that the closest he came to getting caught was the tech inspector put his hand right on the bar to lean down and look under the car. And he said it was a hot day and that bar was freezing cold. He said he thought they'd get caught and he never picked up on it. Windshield, I dread searching for one. Yeah. Buff says that that Mercury's likely to be slower. Kim has 25 more cubic inches and a much lower gear in the rear, but you never know. Yeah, you never know. But we'll see. You know how to find out, though. Yeah, there's better ways of hiding nitrous, I think, than that. But there people have hidden a lot of stuff in frame rails, so forth and so on. Not really my style. I know when Jerry Ekman and Orndorff got caught cheating with nitrous, they had a bottle hidden in the dry sump oil tank. Had a bottle hidden in there. And it overheated and exploded. Flew out, hit another team's hauler. I'd love to find the episode of NHRA Today where they were talking about that. I can't find it anywhere. I've asked the YouTubers who have archives of that. They can't find it either. Kim says there's new windshields available. I think the rubber is also. Yeah, there are. People reproduce a lot of that stuff. Indecisive Garage says, speaking of shifting, I picked up the 4R100 from Cope yesterday. It got an A+ report card, stuffing it in the truck tomorrow and racing at the Rock on Thursday. Oh, and hello, everyone. Well, howdy, Tim. Connor says, me and Dr. Go have almost identical drivetrains. Main difference is I did the 4-barrel swap. He wanted to run them last year, but I was too hot. Calling him out is my apology for saying no. Too hot. Sean O'Brien says you should have left the wiper motors out and get all the weight savings you can. Dr. Go said put some speed-rated 10 to 12-inch tires on the Mercury if they can be found so you can improve the gear ratio. Yeah, then you spin that stuff on the line. Now, a 24-inch tire would be probably excellent for that. Evans Mopar says 7 1/4 and the 440 hasn't shattered the spider gears yet. Yes, I told him the spider gears will probably be the thing that goes in it. That's usually the weak point in those, the weakest point in those. I just hate that he might bring it and just shatter it. I mean, but we'll see what happens. There's the link for Indecisive Garage. He is running in the No Name 500 right now. Currently running middle of the pack. Indecisive Garage has 114 subscribers. There is our No Name 500 slate right now. We have Vintage Adventure Drives at $479, Stinger Salvage $339, Mean Street Mopar $324, Indecisive Garage at 114, Rust Before Holes at 97, and Lone Wrench Garage 74 subscribers with 7 videos. So, like Smokey and the Bandit, they've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. They've got 166 days, 2 hours, and 45 minutes to be exact. One-Eyed Cat's Cope transmission got me a dandy too. The One-Eyed Cat's is technically not a CRT transmission, but it was built. I built it at CRT. Used all the good CRT stuff in it. That should be a good one for Don. Really nice core. Everything went together real smooth. It's a good one. Upper says you can do it. Most of us did. That's right. There's a lot of No Name 500 alumni in here. Connor says the only reason I was able to run it all last year is because the guy with the Meep let me borrow his radiator cap. Oh, yeah, that was a wild-looking vehicle. Who knew that Minis and Fifth Avenues used the same size cap? Well, there you go. We learn something new and useless every day. There we go. Now we know that. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. We've got nearly 100 No Name 500 alumni. Think of his name and feel bad. What's that channel? His name? That's a wild looking car. It's I cannot think of the name of the channel. Cubert's Projects, I think. Isn't that right? Wild looking car. Does a higher horsepower engine break a low power rear differential? Well, yeah, you put enough torque to anything, you can break it. Sean says a 24 or 26-inch tire would definitely help. And the Tremec calculator says it changes the ratio a lot. It will make the effective ratio lower than it would relative to running a taller tire, yes. Thumper says 2 Hacks Jeff started with 100 subs the same time I did. Now he's pushing 60,000. 2 Hacks Jeff, I was his first subscriber when he declared for the No Name Nationals in 2022. I was his first sub. $60,000, is that right? So he's made a really big 14,200. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, 14.2 for Jeff. Yeah, I didn't think he jumped up that much. Not that he couldn't, he certainly can, but he hadn't quite yet. One-inch different in diameter makes a 5 mile per hour difference. That sounds about right. What's my first gear ratio? 2.74 to 1. That's pushing 60. Just has to double it twice. Dude, there's a lot of things that are a stretch. That's like making copper wire out of a penny stretch right there. One Cat says Jeff Rowe is a natural low. Jeff Rowe is his own thing. 2 Hacks Jeff is 2 Hacks Jeff. There's no one else like him. Yeah, he did a call-out video with his very first video he ever did on YouTube. Was he made a call-out with his looking at his Thunderbird sitting in the garage, his bone stock Thunderbird, called out somebody who didn't show up. The rest is history. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says, hello, everyone. Connor says, I was spending about 4,800 according to the calculator I just used. Now I can add a tack and zebra. Well, I mean, you calculate it. It'll be right. You text him from out front on Mosser Dragway. Yep, Wendy just got home. Yep, you can just about set your watch by it. Thumper says, I'm 1 week-ish from being under the 3 bill mark. So you're going to be under 300, huh? Cool. Good deal. How much does that represent for you, Thumper? Thumper says he started out at 339 last May and June, around 306, 308 right now. Going to be the sweaty spelt guy soon. Okay, cool. Yeah, but don't try to do like 7 in a week. I mean, just take your time, man. Little changes, be sustainable. But that's good. That's cool. Connor says, my health has been making wrenches hard these past few months, but I'm slowly improving. Hope to be near 100% by No Name Nationals. I was able to ditch the cane finally. Yep. Upper says, as the snow goes away, it comes off faster. Yep. That it can. I'll give a quick reminder in here for those of you who were not here earlier. I'm going to be doing some biography style live stream interviews. And the first one's going to be this upcoming Friday with Mr. Ron Ward, the voice of the AHRA No Name Nationals. And we're going to have Ron on for that. And we're also going to have coming up Just Mopar Joe. It's going to be in for one of those. And some guests that you know. It'll be interesting. It'll be a format that I'm kind of going back to because before COVID, I did something like this with a local business person. We co-hosted a podcast. So this is going to be kind of returning to that a little bit for this crowd. So it'll be a different style of live stream, but that will be this Friday, upcoming Friday, April 11th at the regular time. Thumper says, in wrestling, I would drop 40 pounds in November, every November. That is insane. That is crazy. Ron is a great guy. Yes, he is. Indecisive Garage says, that's good. I was 324 in June 24 and 281 yesterday. That's a big improvement. Plan on being under 280 when I climb into the truck next Thursday. Yep, right on, man. Cool. A stroke is the one thing I'm trying to avoid. Yes, and it'll be better on your joints and everything. Thumper said I plateaued October to February, stuck at 315. Oh, good for you guys. That's awesome. Connor said, I could never get into wrestling watching classmates make themselves sick to make weight. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. That's just crazy. I remember for years I sponsored, this is a little factoid, worthless information. I used to sponsor the bench press competition at Virginia Tech every year, the intramural bench press competition. And I never had anything for those guys. Man, they were some big benchers in that competition. But I always wanted to make weight for it anyway, just like solidarity. I'm like, you guys are really cutting weight right now and suffering. I'll do it with you. So I would do it. But they all had, the competitive guys all had 100 pounds on me. They were stout. And I remember one year, just like when the 181 class got won by a guy putting up 455, I'm like, forget that. Evans Mopar says, congratulations to Connor. Keep on healing. Yep, right on. Danny Boyd stayed under 170 all winter for the first time in almost 40 years. My gosh, I probably haven't been 70 since I was 170 since I was 10 years old. Sean O'Brien wrestled at 215 for a decade at natural weight. 1 or 2 times it got dicey. Upper said, I didn't get sick. I just ran a lot, went on the Auschwitz diet, worked on the farm. 400 push-ups and sit-ups every night after the 150 in practice. Oh, gosh. So, you know, it's funny. I'm actually wearing the shirt. See this forward training concepts? That's Sonny Pazikas. And he would teach these like AK operators classes and such. And what he would do is for missing your target, or when I say missing your target, you're just not getting bullseyes. You're counting rings out. You had a formula to figure out how many push-ups you had to do. And we won, my group won, and we only had to do 900 push-ups. The other team had to do 1,200 push-ups. And you would do push-ups and sit-ups and crawling on hands and feet across the field, do that stuff the whole class just to keep you completely worn out so it was harder to shoot. And I'm telling you, crawling on hands and knees is one thing. Crawling your hands and feet is another. It's much harder. But anyway. Captain Dew said, being under 300 is fine health. I once been 308, dropped to 247 and went back up to 302 and don't know what my weight is now for all that heavy lifting I did. Okay, not exactly sure what you're saying there, but I'll tell you, I'd work on getting back there. Thumper says, I was 167 at 17, 5'8", and 8% body fat. That spring, I benched 265. Yep, cool. I always wanted to bench 100 pounds more than I weigh and never did. That was the dividing line between the novice class and the open class when they would have meets in Christiansburg. They would do it 100 pounds over body weight. I never could quite get there. And now I'm old. But, you know, and that's without a bench shirt now. Bear in mind, that's, you know, the Enzer Blast shirt changes everything. It's like the cheat code on a video game. But I always wanted to. I still have that shirt, too. That might be fun to pry that on and see what it gives me. I don't know. I'm old, man. I haven't picked up a weight in so long. I have no idea. I probably couldn't bench my body weight now. Danny Boyd says, been up to 215, 220 back in my 20s, and it wasn't all muscle. Colleen says, my middle daughter wanted to do modeling until she saw a mother berate her daughter in the bathroom about being there to win. That was her last pageant. Bummer. What a mess. Thumper says, that sounds like a fun time before I got crippled in 04. Well, you know, the worst accident I've ever had in the gym. So I've hurt this shoulder one time. And I mean, it was hurt not the shoulder, not this elbow on my left arm. It hurt for 2 years. And I didn't do a military presses, but probably the worst actual injury. I don't know if you can see that or not. That split like that snake's tongue looking fork in my finger, that was from a dumbbell. That was from a dumbbell on a bench. I smashed it. A 55-pounder came down. And I felt it, and it hurt. I mean, it hurt so bad that it just went into a numb pain. And then I looked and I could see the bone. I'm like, yeah, I need to go to the hospital. And when I went to the emergency room window, I walked up and it was just numb. It was hurting. It was numb. Wasn't bleeding much, hardly at all. But I walked up and I said, hey, I need some stitches. And the woman at the window said, is this an emergency? And I held my hand up and said, well, I can see the bone. She went to the back. But all the stitches I've ever had done at that one hospital all look just awful, like that and like these. The ones I've had done here, you can't even see. Anyway, Connor says, when I played football, the only reason I made the team is I was fast and hard to tackle. On weight day, I could barely bench the bar. Now I bench 150-ish. Not great, he says, which I got to tell you, 150 is probably, honestly, that's probably in the top 10% of everybody. And I weigh 100 pounds more than I did. Yeah, but I'll tell you, I wonder how many guys can actually bench clean, pause, press, rep, flat bench with a bar, free weight bar, 135, which is a 45-pound plate on each side of a 7-foot bar. I wonder. Dean says, I could bench 315, but she got a weight reduction surgery. Upper was 19. He was benching 330. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I like it. Good deal. I've never been a natural for the bench because I got these pterodactyl arms. Just never been my thing. But they're great for deadlift, I can tell you that. If I had shorter legs, it'd be even better. But I got real long arms and real long legs. But definitely better for deadlift. Captain Deuce says spring is the best season for weight losing, good windy weather, great air to breathe. Well, you just get out and get more active. Mater's asking Colleen, are you practicing to catch some rolls? Evans Mopar Scott says, I was able to do 75 push-ups in 2 minutes when I tried for an ROTC scholarship back in the day. I can still do it. Right on, man. 75 push-ups in 2 minutes. That is cooking. Man, that is blistering. That's 37 to 38 every minute. That's more than one every 2 seconds. I can't move that fast at all. Take me a while to grind out 75. Thumper got to 450 after the 1990-91 14-month workout in the Air Force. Yep, that's a lot of bench. Wrong says we're just getting older. Indeed. Colleen says I used to leg press 265 in the 7th grade once I switched from bicycle to car. Yeah. Yeah, the leg press is one place where you see people doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I would use it, but I would use it clean. 90 degrees down, pause, press. That's it. All of this stuff, you see these ego lifters will pile all this weight on there and they move that thing this far. Nope, utter nonsense. I would get spotters. I would usually do about 950, 1,000 for 2 clean ones. And that's all the way down 90 degrees, pause, press, no push off with the hands, but I would have spotters because, I know those things have little stops on the bottom, but it just scares me, the idea of hyperextending a knee or something with that much weight. Thumper said for the physical training test, we had to do 2 minutes to push-ups. I did 90, which was the max for 18 to 24-year-olds when he was 35. Yeah, I can't grind them out that quick at all. Dean Stevenson says, I can still do 115 press-ups. I don't even know what a press-up is. Yeah, Thumper's built for it, though. He's built for push-ups and benching. He's got the thick chest and the buggy whip arms, and he is made for the bench press. I enjoyed it. I'm just not any good at it. I'm sure if I did training for the bench press, I'd have been a lot better, but I never did. 245 at 13 for me. Yeah, right on. That's good. Number says most people can't do 100. It's just how it is. Dude, 200. I bet that not 1% of any guys can do 200 pounds on the bench at all. I think I read something one time that said only 5% of people can bench their body weight. But again, when people say I bench this and I bench that, the cheat rep nonsense is all over the place. I would want to know what people can actually bench. Pause, press, flat, bench, etc., etc. 880 leg press, yeah, that's a good weight. Nader says, with my right hand hurt, my left hand is getting some exercise. I'm getting lots of 12-ounce curls. Danny Boy says, I'll bet I can bench 200. Well, there you go. Go to the gym, get you a spotter, and give it a try. 38 Races says, I don't think I could do 75 in a year. Wrong English says, do 10 push-ups every minute. You would be amazed how many you can do over a marathon time. Oh, I bet. So I had when I was a student at Virginia Tech, I used to work for the biology department. And I had this vacuum cleaner I wore on my back that looked like something out of Ghostbusters, right? It almost looked like one of those proton packs. And it had the wand and hose that would clip down the side. I get on the elevator with that thing, and they'd give me comments like, "Oh man, one of the Ghostbusters," you know. But I would do push-ups at work during down times, and I would do them with the vacuum on my back. Captain Dew says, once you get past age 30s, more joints in the human bodies will crack and snap. Well, you get old. My right knee almost sounds like it's got something grinding in it. Connor says, I never realized how many joints I have till they all started popping. Mexican Spec says, I will keep my mouth shut on this subject of weight. In other words, I don't. In other words, I want you to know I disagree with a bunch of stuff, but I won't. That's the most passive aggressive thing either. That's called not keeping your mouth shut by telling everybody how you'll keep your mouth shut, so they'll ask you. Number says Dean doesn't do push-ups; he pushes the earth down. Sean O'Brien said, I had amazing strength coaches over the years. I actually went out to UNI for athletic training before I dropped that for a more mechanical career. Yeah, I mean, I loved the gym. I mean, I just loved it for many, many, many years. And things change in your life, and I have not been in the gym in a long, long time. But I loved it. Scott's talking about a Filipino guy did 120 push-ups in 2 minutes. Pure craziness. He could do one-arm elevated push-ups, legs up with no problem. I've never done a one-arm push-up in my life. Can't even imagine. Danny Boy says, I'll bet $100 I can bench my body weight. Well, who wants to take you on that? You don't weigh but 140 pounds, do you? Ray has super long arms. He can fit inside a Honda engine bay, and I can't. Oh, that's interesting. Bench press is practice for lifting a car after the jack stands fail. Deadlifting is practice for lifting a car after the jack stands fail. I can deadlift. At one time, I could deadlift the Volkswagen Beetle on the one end, which doesn't weigh anything. I could deadlift the one end of the Mini. Those not the Mini, the smart car. Smart car. I knew a coworker had one. Heavens Mopar Scott says, my max bench in high school was 175. I was at 130. Can't do it now. Way too many injuries. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it is an exercise, but it's one that sure gets a lot of notoriety. Dougster said he had a friend that took a Geo Metro 3-cylinder engine out by hand because the picker was broken. It wasn't that bad. Yeah, they're not that bad. In fact, in a lot of these little 4-cylinder cars, truthfully, if you stand up, like you put some blocks down on the ground, okay, you put some 2x4s across your shoulders, you put some straps on them and down onto your engine, and you can just raise yourself up, pick the engine up, roll the car out. You can do it that way. I have done that before with some buddies. It's not a bad way at all to pull one. Mexican says, I gained 4 kilos in 8 years since my last checkup, which brings me up to 185. I feel very small here. Brings your weight up, or your weight up. Yeah. Yeah, 185. That sounds like a much healthier weight, though, than a lot of us. Connor pulled a 300 out of a truck. Head and manifolds off in a junkyard by hand. I wonder where my back hurts. Oh, man. Yeah, hurts just thinking about it. I picked up a tree stump yesterday. Yeah, gosh, it was just yesterday. I'm surprised I'm not hurting from that, but I had a tree fall over in the storm, and I had it cut once, and I cut a little more off of it. And oh man, how am I going to put this thing on the trailer? Because my trailer rail comes up to here. So I managed to get it up onto the tongue of the trailer and roll it up. Now I got to Atlas stone this thing over onto the trailer. And I did. I said, I'll be feeling that tomorrow, but I'm not so far. Danny Boyd says, I once squatted a bare 88 Ford 5.0 block into the bed of my truck. How did you do a squat with that? How did you get it on your back? Danny Boyd's 165. So 165 is, that's going to be the bar with 2 plates, 2 dimes, and 2 nickels. 165. I used to be much quicker with bar math when I was loading them, for competition. You have to know exactly, how to make a change to know what plates to put on there. Oh, man. So Julius Maddox, who I think has the biggest raw bench press in the world right now. He's trying for 800. I don't think he's broken it, but he's very close. He may have had it here maybe a year or 2 ago, and somebody loaded the bar wrong, and they have 5 pounds different one side than the other, and he missed the lift. I'm like, oh, gosh. I don't know if he's gotten. I hope he gets it. He should. He certainly does work hard enough. Buffdale Campus says he'll be live after me. However, here in a few minutes, I should have a guest come in here for the very end of this live. So we'll be live for just a short time here to go. Car working is a free membership than getting a gym membership, even working on semi-trucks. Well, the gym is about the culture that you go there for, just as much or more than the weights. Well, there's Rainy Day Auto. Hey, thanks for joining us. Glad you're here. Haven't seen you in a while. Just a 300 block is a figurative ton. Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. Connor says, had a classmate that lost his life to a high lift. My dad was on the ambulance squad, and he said the wrench he was holding went through his chest. I will not let anyone use a high lift to change tires. Oh, yikes. Okay, special guest in the house. Are we ready? Give me just a second here. We have Vintage Adventurer Drives.
Howdy. I'm never been on a live before. How's it going?
This is his first live stream. He's at 479 subscribers, and his link is pinned at the top. So, guys, we've got 18 minutes left in regulation. Why don't you reach out to your friends, and let's see if we can make his 500 moment tonight. Thumper says, you know those rolls of roofing rubber, 500 pounds? I picked one up and carried it to the roof of my house in 2015. Oh, gosh. I don't know what roof of – oh, it's a rubber roof. Oh, man, goodness. Yeah, I don't like – that's the worst part of roofing other than the slanted height you're on is carrying all that stuff up the ladder. But anyway, we have Vintage Adventure Drives in here. The 4-speed swapping Valiant driving or Scamp driver in the No Name 500.
The 4-speed swap's in a satellite.
Ah, yeah, right. But you still have the 4-speed swap going on.
Yeah.
479 subs.
Hey, don't forget, I'm also flip phone using.
Flip phone too. Right on.
Yeah. Imagine that, doing YouTube while I have a flip phone.
Mopar's Mustangs and Minivans says he is at 480. He's the 480th subscriber.
Woohoo!
Right on. All right. If you guys are not yet subscribed, what this guy does is legit. Check out his channel. There's good stuff on there. He wants to be our first alumnus of the 4th season of the No Name Nationals.
Hey, you know what? Whenever I found out that there was the No Name 500 thing, I was like, I'm making this happen. I'm winning this.
And you're doing it. You're doing it.
Hey, look at that right there, 482.
You're going to do it. You're going to do it on the first try. He's 18 away. So if you've not yet subscribed, go check out his channel. As I always say, they got to earn it. I'll never tell anybody to subscribe. I tell them, go check it out and see if they earn your sub. He earned mine. I would say there's a good chance he'll earn yours too. If you are already subscribed, share this out to your friends and make sure they can check it out. Let them know, hey, he's running in the No Name 500. He's 18 away.
Yeah.
And we'll see what we can do. Colleen is already subscribed, but use your network and your reach. So these 500 lives are fun. Nader was 481.
Oh, nice.
Gus Devil said he earned my subscription a long time ago. Right on.
Oh,
Captain
nice.
Dew says, good luck getting 500 subs. Are you subscribed, Captain Dew? Because I will tell you that he's making it happen.
Yeah. Hey, Dust Devil, I finally checked out your channel last night, and I dig that little duster you got. It's pretty cool.
I'm going to go over here and pop this link up on my own. So that I can keep tabs. You're at 485.
Woo!
15 to go.
Now, hey, Mohawk, I promise you, I'm getting that scamp going. It's going slow with the 4-speed swap on the satellite, but I'm dedicated to getting that car done, and it's partially because of you. Yeah. I've been driving the car, drove it to work today, and I love the thing. It's awesome. The 1-2 shift is awesome. 2-3 kind of sucks, but 3-4 is good. 3-4 is good.
Cave Dave is here. Says hello. Cave Dave, are you subscribed to Vintage Adventurer Drives? He is just 15 subs away from punching his ticket to the 4th annual AHRA No Name Nationals. Yeah. And he will be the first alumnus of the 4th season of the No Name 500 tonight if he gets 15 more subs.
Yeah.
$486. 14 to go. 14 to go. And, of course, he would get there either way, but it is fun to do it live with him right here on the show. So share this with your friends, your other social media, whatever. Let people know, and let's watch it happen tonight. Mean Street Mopar says he's already subbed. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says 14 away. Yes, indeed. He's at 486. Mm-hmm. Evans Mopar says you'll have your 15 subs in 15 minutes. I think so, too. Lars says we need a bass solo at 500.
Well, all my instruments are inside, but I can run inside and go grab the acoustic if you really want. Yeah. Rainy
Dizzy,
day that I'm here joking.
Dizzy says he's already subbed. Says hello. Howdy, Dizzy. Glad you're here.
Yeah.
Rainy Day Auto. If you want to find it, the link is pinned at the top for Vintage Adventurer Drives.
I was going to try to win some subscriptions with a cat, but it decided to run off on me.
Well, you'll find your next 500 go a lot quicker than your first 500.
Well, let me tell you, it's been a lot of networking to get this first 500. A lot of networking.
We haven't got it yet, but I got faith that it can happen here in the next few minutes. Because right now you're at 487. Lone Wrench Garage, the link is pinned at the top to Vintage Adventurer Drives. The link is pinned at the top. And all No Name 500 contestants who are registered are on my channel, on my homepage. You can go to johnwilburn.com and you'll see it.
Yeah, I've been looking at that like a hawk, like every single day.
Rainy Day subscribe. Thank you. Connor says, I didn't think I could do it. I got there a week before the event last year. Yep, you did it.
Yeah.
Link is pinned at the top. Well, he's got it, Mexican Spec.
Yeah, I've got a couple shorts. I did one just yesterday while I was out driving around my satellite. Did a 1-2 shift and spinning the tires across the bridge.
9 to go.
Woo!
Lars says you're at 491.
And for some reason, all these numbers seem like they're real significant, but they ain't 500.
Yeah, but I mean, look how quickly you've gotten there. This is about the quickest you've gotten.
Yeah,
15 subs or so, isn't it?
I don't know. Posting the forums really helped me out big time one time.
But I mean, you've gotten what, 14 in 10 minutes? That's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I was at like 479 whenever I left work earlier.
Yep, you were 477 when we started the live.
Oh,
Yeah, you said I'm subbed already. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've been there for a while. I appreciate that one.
Yeah. $490 was 491. Now it's showing 490. That's all right. Usually, what happens is that people they'll vary back and forth, but you'll wind up with all of them.
Yeah.
Most people the day after a 500 live will wind up with probably 520 or 30.
So, dude just asked a question about the Pinto. That Captain Do there asking about my Pinto. No, it does not have an upgraded fuel cell in any way. It is bone stock. Bone stock fuel tank.
Wasn't the deal with the fuel tank and the Pinto that the bolts on the straps could puncture it in the event of a wreck? Wasn't that the whole thing with it anyway?
Yeah, that's a lot of it. In a wreck, it'll rupture, it'll cause sparks, and things will catch on fire. Mine being a wagon, though, they're probably about this much longer at the back, and they're nowhere near as prone to the explosions that the regular hatchbacks were.
492, 493.
Ooh.
Told you it wouldn't take long.
Yeah. My girlfriend, she subscribed on our first date. Hey, she's actually been. She's going to be in my. My girlfriend's going to be in my next video that's coming out Sunday.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She acted as a camera person too.
Nice. We see 493. People get out their networks and tell their friends. I see 494, so you're 6 away.
Nice.
Got a nice working shop there, I see, where you do good stuff.
Well, this ain't much of a shop. It's just a carport that was raised 2 foot.
That's a shop.
Hey, it's better than nothing, I wish I still had my machine shop because I used to be able to make cool stuff like this tap that's specifically made to fix the spindle in my F-250. I had to rethread the damn thing.
Let's see, where are we right now?
I haven't even been checking.
Rainy Day Auto has 69 subscribers.
Ooh.
When do you want to get on here for your 500 live, Rainy Day Auto? Make an entry into the No Name Nationals. Turbo Tom says, my wife hasn't subscribed to my channel yet.
Hey, fun thing about 69, there's a 69 Mustang sitting there right outside the front of the shop.
We're at 494.
That's it.
Yes, the YouTube crowd is amazing. This community is amazing. That's a good question, Colleen. Rainy Day said she stopped making videos. I will leave it to you talented peeps. I like what Rainy Day did. I thought she had some good stuff.
I didn't even know that was a channel. I'll have to check it out. Be number 70.
That's right.
Or someone subscribe before so that way I could be number 71. That's my favorite number.
Mr. Lars, you can throw up the link for Rainy Day Auto so he can do just that. $497. 3 to go.
Ooh.
To
3 to go. Hey, y'all give me that 3 more. Y'all give me that 3 more. I'll run inside and go grab my acoustic just for Lars.
Yep, that's it. You got to do it. Who wants to see that? Yeah, I'm telling you, Mohawk, she had good stuff. $497. Almost there. Indeed, he is. And he has earned it. Heavens Mopar says, I just picked up a 73 and a 74 Sebring, both solid 318 cars. Used 2 cars to make one, $4,000 now for both. When I fixed the one, $4,000 for it. Both have titles. Okay. Cope is asking Dizzy, how many things in America say made in China? Too many. Too many.
I ain't never joke.
497 subs for Vintage Adventurer Drives. If you are not yet subscribed, you can check his channel out at the link pinned at the top. He needs 3 subscribers to punch his ticket to the 4th annual AHRA No Name Nationals, and he's worked very hard in the No Name 500, and he deserves it.
And hey, I was able to be Rainy Day Auto's 71th subscriber.
There you go.
Yeah. Fun thing. So I don't know if any of y'all know this, but I also race dirt bikes. It's one of my many hobbies. And right behind this little plastic thing here, it says 71. All of my numbers say 71 on them. And it's all because of that satellite out there. I just love the car so much. That's become my number with everything.
I like it. My number's 11, so you got to have a number, right?
Yeah. And somehow I keep managing to be able to get it.
Dizzy, I got to tell you, it's kind of hard to find an American flag made in China. All the ones you see in these stores know better than to do that. The flag hanging in front of my house was made in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I was going to say, we're creeping up there.
Yeah.
$498.
Yeah.
Who's got the number 71? I don't know off the top of my head who is 71. I'd have to look and see. I've set the numbers after Labor Day. Because if you were re-registered before Labor Day or by Labor Day, you can keep your number in perpetuity. And there are some people like Jay Matheson who will always keep his number 1. Jason Falk will always keep his number 2. And Lee will always keep his number 3. And Dean will always keep his number 4, etc. But if you have a favorite number and you manage to get it, hang on to it. Mohawk says, I like 71 because scamp.
Mine's a 74.
Wasn't Buck 71? That sounds kind of right. I'd have to look and see. That could be very well. Main Street Mopar wants to swap his Dodge D100 to a 4-speed. It's going to be fun. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Weren't you going to go like a big 440 with that thing, trying to push like
500.
500 horse?
500 subscribers. You've got it.
Woo! Hold up. I got to see this with my own eyes.
Yep.
Reloaded 500. All right. As promised, I'll be right back. I'm going to run inside and go grab my acoustic just for Lars.
Play us now. Well, we all did, Dizzy. Junkyard D. I'll keep my 101 because I'm going to school everyone this year. Right on. Yeah, congratulations indeed.
All right. Let's see how I can do this.
Congratulations will roll in while he plays. Solo time. That's right. Thank you all.
Don't mind the scrubs. I work in the medical field. All right. I'm going to do y'all a little picking here. That is kind of my theme song. And you'll figure out real quick why I did this. People ask me everywhere, hey, is that really all in your hair? I just tell them if it ain't, but she don't mean that now I can't, 'cause I just don't believe it's fair to judge a man by the length of his hair. I don't even know if this thing's tuned in, and I hadn't played that in a while.
Love it. Love it. Wasn't expecting the hair, Mopar's Mustangs and Minivan says.
Hey, you know what? I hadn't cut my hair since I was a couple days before I turned 13, 25 now, so it hadn't been cut short in years. Almost half my life now.
Rainy Day is swaying with the arm in the air with a lighter.
Nice.
Good deal.
Hey, you kind of got to have the hair down if you're out there jamming. You know, you gotta have the head banging going on.
Love it. That's great. Well, I'll tell you what. Thank you for coming on. We got your 500. We're at our time. Thank you all for coming out. Do you have anything else you want to ask these folks?
Man, I just want to ask why in the world y'all decided to like me so much. I'm happy that I managed to earn a bunch of subscriptions here. I appreciate it all.
I'll tell you what, you put in the work and you make good content for these people, and you're a good member of the community, and they appreciate that.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, it's a good community to be a part of.
Thank you. I mean, I love it. I love it. These people are the best. They really are. But with that, we're at our time. Thank you guys for coming out. Congratulations to Vintage Adventurer Drives. If you have questions about the Triple Crown class, since we had a lot of them tonight, go over on Wednesday to the AHRA channel where Dallas is live. He is the person to ask about questions for that class. Also on April 11th, 1 week from tonight, we're going to have a biography style interview live with Mr. Ron Ward, the voice of the AHRA No Name Nationals. It's going to be a little bit different format. We're going to have that with Ron Ward, but you guys will have an opportunity to ask questions. So I look forward to seeing you next week for that. And with that, we are out. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right. Thank you very much.